Welcome to I Drink Your podcast, where we drink and talk about movies from 2007.
Can't stop what's coming.
So, cool beans.
Cool beans.
Mixing his character and his real name. Okay.
We have fun.
How about a suicide pact?
What are you trying to be, an Irish R&B singer?
Oh, it's because he's 60 years old. 60 years old. The alcohol's working.
We need water.
I drink your podcast. I drink it up.
Okay, welcome to episode 2, everyone. This week we are watching Transformers. I am Matt, and I am drinking a margarita with some grapefruit juice in it. Now, just some things up top before we get started. Just be sure to rate this 5 stars on iTunes. Go ahead and share this with all of your friends that love movies, and go ahead and tag us on our social media. But I just want to start introducing everybody. Today we have Ben, Emily, Wes. Tell me what you guys are drinking this week.
So I am actually drinking a shot inspired by Transformers. I call it Transformer Pee, based on the Bumblebee scene where he pees on John Turturro.
Ooh.
It's got Yag, Blue Curacao, and Goldschlager. So I'm going to drink that right now. Cheers.
Oh my
Yum.
goodness. Cheers. Hi.
Down the hatch.
Hi, I'm Emily. And I'm drinking an Optimus Prime slushie that I kind of created with my husband. Poor Ben is dying.
It's so good.
Yeah, right. Well, mine has blended fresh raspberries with ice and vodka in the bottom and a little bit of grenadine. And then on the top, it's shaved ice with blue curacao. And it is so tasty. A little bit of sugar.
Yum.
A little bit of sugar. It's good.
Well, Emily sent us that this morning, and hi, I'm Wes, but I don't have any of that fancy stuff. So I did my Boy Scout best and made do with what I had. So I mixed vodka with blue Gatorade and cranberry juice, and then squirted some blue Mio in it. Pretty tasty. It's getting the job done.
A scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful,
No, we're
drunk,
not going down that
drunk, very drunk.
All right. So for anybody who is unfamiliar, we're going to start off the first half of this podcast with discussing and reviewing Transformers. And the second half is going to feature a battle of twits where we'll have a creative competition between Ben and Matt inspired by the movie.
Yeah, so Transformers is our movie today, and it's directed by auteur director Michael Bay. And it features Shia Labeouf, Megan Fox, Josh Duhamel, John Turturro, and Angelina Jolie's dad, also known as John Voight. So before we get into the movie, what is your favorite toy or series of toys when you were growing up?
Legos, 100%.
Wow.
Well, that's not true. I had a lot of favorite toys, but it was definitely Legos. We would have these big battles between me and my 2 sisters, and we'd have this big setup of towers that we would construct, and we would maybe make some spaceships and attack each other. But also Beanie Babies. And when we were sick of playing inside, we'd just go outside and hit each other with sticks. So.
Sticks, the ultimate toy.
The ultimate original toy.
Nice. I want to go next just because I feel like mine parallels yours. I would want to say video games, but those aren't toys. We didn't have these. Exactly. We didn't have these. My best friend growing up, Tony Zapp, he had Kinects at his house. You guys remember those?
Yeah, expensive Legos.
Yeah, they were Legos with marble tracks and all sorts of like cool track style, I don't know, architecture and physics and stuff. So like we had those over at his house, and those are so freaking cool. And my bike, I guess.
It's not a toy. You're so bad at answering things. I too had trouble picking just one. This one's hard because first of all, I was a very spoiled child. I had my pick of the litter with being an only child. I had lots of toys. So mine ranged from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to G.I. Joes to Exo Squad to Legos, like Emily mentioned. I grew up pretty much in an era of just great toys, but my first love were definitely the G.I. Joe ones. Specifically, what I looked up are called the G.I. Joe A Real American Hero line, which are the 3 3/4 inch action figures as opposed to the original 12-inch figures.
Nerd.
Shut up. They were A lot cooler because they could move around like all their parts a lot more, which quickly transformed into a love of all toys that could be formed and changed so that you could like play with them and use your imagination less, which I was real
Perfect.
good at. And that point was when actually Beast Wars ended up being some of my favorite toys, which is, for those who don't know, a Transformers cartoon where the Transformers changed into animals instead of vehicles.
I was really hoping someone would say Transformers was one of them. Otherwise,
I had a lot of Beast Wars toys.
That's awesome.
So my favorite were action figures too, but they were the WWF action figures, and I had the little plastic ring with the ropes that were like hair bands, kind of, so they had a little bit of stretch to them. And I remember one of my action figures had the little button in the back where you push down on its back, and then it springs up like it's jumping off the top rope. I used to play with those just for hours at a time.
Against your brothers, right?
Yes, and I dominated them every time.
Yeah, just give us a little backstory on your upbringing, Wes being an only child.
Thanks for reminding me.
No friends made by your parents.
Well, we don't need to
with.
jump to that conclusion, but...
So I grew up with two younger brothers, all three of us within about 3 years of age. So we shared a lot of the same friends, hung out with the same people, enjoyed a lot of the same things. So growing up with just two friends alongside me, and we're friends now. We were not friends when we were growing up.
Hell yeah.
From what I hear, they were trying to be friends with you, but you weren't having it.
I'm not having any of that shit back then.
Yeah, that was kind of similar for me with my sisters. We're all 4 years apart, and I'm in the middle, but we're good friends now. Anyway, are we ready for some grown-up toys now, I guess?
Ooh.
It's not what I meant, but Transformers.
Yeah, are you throwing it to Transformers? Get ready to talk about the film? That's a stretch calling it a film, by the way, guys. But yeah, so let's just jump into Act 1. I wrote Act 1 summary this week, and I'm getting a lot of shakes from the group.
So much exposition, just like this movie.
Just go ahead and jump in. Jump in.
All right, we're jumping in. Okay, so several thousand years ago, the planet Cybertron was consumed by a civil war between two Transformer factions, the Autobots, led by Optimus Prime, and the Decepticons, led by Megatron. Optimus jettisoned the Allspark, a mystical artifact that brings life to the planets, into space, but Megatron pursued it, and we get a lot of zip-zap sound effects right off the bat, so you know it's a good movie. Present day, Blackout, a.k.a. this helicopter, attacks the United States military base in Qatar. Oh, and I've gotten to actually be deployed to Qatar, so...
Humble brag.
Right? I know. I know. So... yeah, it in a failed attempt to hack the military network to find information on Megatron and the Allspark, a surviving team of Army Rangers led by Captain Lennox escaped across the desert, pursued by Blackout's little tail, Scorpionock. Now, just keep in mind, a lot of these Transformers are not being named, not a lot of character development happening. We meet Sam Wikipedia, who gives us an 11th grade book report on where we learn about his grandfather's exploration to the Arctic Circle and how his grandfather's old shit is all on eBay because he's trying to buy a car and he's trying to get girls. We later find out that this was there was more that meets the eye about his grandfather's exploration and spectacles, teeing my boys up for Act 2 and 3. Sam buys a car, Bumblebee, from Bernie Mac with his father's help. And after some shenanigans, he gets some FaceTime with the hottest girl at school, Megan Fox, a.k.a. Michaela Barnes. Bumblebee runs away. Sam chases after him and learns about Transformers and aliens. Hot girl Maggie Madison, a data analyst, learns about the Decepticon frenzy hacking into the military network while on board Air Force One. The hack was thwarted, but Frenzy downloads information on Archibald's glasses and on Sam Wikipedia. Our military boys fight off the Scorpion in the desert, and Captain Lennox has a terrible time on customer support while trying to make a long-distance phone call to the Pentagon. After getting through, he's aided by aerial reinforcements, and they learn about saber rounds are damaging to their armor. That is Act 1. And holy shit, I wanted to include everything because
You added so much more that I didn't even know was in the movie.
What are you talking about?
Matt, that was longer than the first act.
Yeah. This movie is 2 hours and 40 minutes. But we need to set up so many things here because they show you so many elements really quickly.
And it's very important to the story that we understand every aspect
Especially
of it.
for the third act explosion fest.
Right. I'm expecting the third act is going to be like, boom, zip. Ah! It's like, we can't
don't spoil my summary.
Okay, sorry.
I love that you leaned on the Wiki, perfectly fitting into Shia Labeouf's history with weird last names with Stanley Yelnats. I couldn't help but get over that immediately. Like, what the?
What's Stanley Yelnat?
From Holes.
Yeah, it's his character from Holes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that was originally a book.
You just bringing that up like common knowledge. I was very confused.
It was common knowledge. Come
You should
on,
be
Matt.
ashamed for not knowing what I was talking
seen
about.
Holes or Red
75%
Holes.
of us have seen and read it.
All right. So let's jump into Act 1, guys.
We already have been. Oh my God, Matt.
Matt, you said you were stationed in Qatar.
Yeah.
When you were stationed there, were Qatar children just allowed to run around the base whenever they want?
Oh yeah, it's exactly like the movie. So it's just like an uncontrolled space. Everyone's playing basketball in the heat. It's fucking great, dude. We have so much fun. And the showers are just one glob of water divided into four panels, just like the movie. And we get bullied by more masculine men. Yeah, it's exactly like the Air Force. I'm telling you.
So with this being started off with the military, it has one of my least favorite tropes in movies of all time. After the attack, they announce on live TV that there was an attack and they don't know if there were any survivors, where the wife of, I already forgot his name, but the main Josh Duhamel's, Lennox, his wife is watching with their baby and finding out on, I don't know, CNN or whatever.
Right?
That her husband might be dead, and she just like immediately turns to the baby and it's like, it's gonna be okay. Like, I just the laziest.
Love it. I love the product placement. I knew very early on that there was going to be a ton of product placement because it's like this call home from the military member to his wife and baby is brought to you by HP laptops, and that the theme would continue on throughout the movie.
Yeah, it seems like everything in this movie is framed like it's a commercial.
Oh, it is.
That includes Megan Fox.
Oh, definitely.
Ooh.
So
What's she selling?
Everything.
I don't know, but Emily's buying.
Yeah, no, I'm totally buying. I mean, this might be the more Office, like, is what's her face hot question. Oh my God, what's her name? And
Hillary Swank.
Hillary Swank question, because
Oh,
Wesley's
right.
not all into Megan Fox, and that's fine. But Michael Bay's background in commercials shows me that he knows that sex sells. And so he is really going to throw Megan Fox out there as this really sexy, attractive person. But let's just remember that she is a teenager in this movie, or I don't actually know how old she was in this, but
21. I looked it up.
Michaela
11th.
is a teenager.
11th grade. She's got to be 17.
She's actually just a couple months older than I am, which I found interesting, which is why I looked it up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's why you don't find her attractive, right?
No. Megan Fox is attractive. She definitely is. But the objectifying and the over-sexualization of women in this, like, Matt, you said as a joke for the other female character that is not Sam's mom as the hot girl.
Hot girl analyst.
Yes,
yeah.
hot girl analyst. But this objectifying, they have minimal clothes. There's objectifying, leering looks from Sam, the protagonist, and from other characters. The camera work always highlights Megan Fox's body. I don't know if you noticed that.
Oh, sometimes panning back and forth like,
Yep.
we better look at her face because she's going to say something. Now back to that ass.
Or it's a tracking shot with both characters, and Shia LaBeouf is in the background, and her midriff is in the foreground.
Well,
and you're
that
just like,
is definitely, I think I know what the scene you're talking about, when she opens up the hood of the car of Bumblebee and he just like turns away and is completely overwhelmed and probably coming in his pants. But like, not only this,
Probably.
Not only this, that they're objectifying her and over-sexualizing a teenager, but they also add she's good with cars, so she has depth.
It's not just Megan Fox's character that they do that with either. The hot analyst, I think you said her name was Maggie. I didn't know that. I didn't know if it was said in the movie at all.
I didn't remember it.
It is. I remember.
She goes into the Secretary of Defense's base room, and she's just standing there. And the Secretary of Defense goes, "Wait, you cracked the code? You did this?" And the guy standing next to her is like, "Well, her team did."
Yeah.
Like no woman could do it herself. Like she has a team of men doing it for her.
I wrote down that same note. But one thing I did want to ask you guys your feelings on was, so Maggie specifically is peers with two very nerdy looking lumpy white guys. And she ends up being the most intelligent and the one that cracks the code. Megan Fox saves Shia LaBeouf's life. She's the one who is doing most of the action in the third act. So they're both portrayed as, I would call them the heroes, but they also are portrayed by extremely attractive females, where their male counterparts are both lumpy and, for the most part, other than Josh Duhamel, not what most people would consider
attractive.
Traditionally, yeah, thank you. So how do you feel about that? Does that make it any better?
I don't think that them being attractive took away or added, or their counterparts were, less traditionally attractive. It was more that this trope hadn't really been done very much yet in 2007, where we're just kind of, I think as audience members, we were starting to become more cognizant and aware of what this joke was, where it's like, oh, these smart, attractive women are in here too.
I think the interesting part with the two women characters is that they never let you stop remembering, though, that they are American women. They're America. Maggie says when they're trying to decode the Decepticon noise is that this is way too smart for Iranian scientists. Nice cheap jab at Iran to show that, hey, we're America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before we get too far, I want to point back to my favorite character in Act 1, which is Mojo the dog. And Mojo's treehouse, and the fact that he has a broken leg, so Shia LaBeouf is giving the dog drugs and then calls the dog a crackhead. I guffawed out loud at that. But what I found also interesting is that Mojo actually had one movie before this, but Transformers skyrocketed his career to be in other amazing films and TV shows such as Private Practice, Young and the Restless, Sinister, Seven Psychopaths, Savages, Ray Donovan, and finally his last credit is Jimmy Kimmel Live in 2003.
Wow.
Seven Psychopaths came out way after 2003.
Yeah, and Transformers came out in 2007. So
sorry, that's when the Jimmy Kimmel show started. He appeared on 4 episodes ranging from 2011 to 2015.
Wow.
Okay.
Is he dead now?
I'm assuming the crack addiction got to him.
I want to talk about this a little bit too, because I just had a dog go in for surgery on his leg, and he's been rehabbing. And for this tiny Chihuahua that weighs all of 5 to 10 pounds, maybe, for them to put him on all these precarious situations where he's falling 3 or 4 Chihuahua stories, he's going to break all of those legs, So I was just they're treating this dog in such a dangerous manner, and we're giving our dog pain pills, and he's doing all sorts of stuff. So I was like, these are bad dog owners.
That's really funny that you comment about that, because they don't say why he got the broken leg. So maybe we could point back to the aerial birdhouse that is his lounging
the Chihuahua
bed.
birdhouse, exactly. Oh my God.
One of the other things that I realized in this film early on, when they were in Air Force One and they cut to what is supposed to be George W. Bush's socks, it really took me back and made me realize that all the movies we're going to do were in an era of George W. Bush. And I had trouble wrapping my head around that. Does that do anything to you guys? Did that have an effect when that showed up in the movie?
I appreciated the fact that they let John Voight be the main talking head for America. I mean, Angelina Jolie's father.
Okay. Gotcha.
I appreciated that because they were like, we're not going to have a fictional president. It's going to be the real one. You know what I mean? So I kind of thought that was like neat. But at the same time, like, you know, I could have also done like a Jack Bauer, David Palmer situation, you know?
I guess I didn't think about that they don't normally put the real active president as a character.
I wanted to talk a little bit about the development of this film as well. So we touched on some of the female characters earlier as well. And I thought it was interesting because in earlier drafts of the film, there was a Transformer character who was a female RC, who is like was like a crotch racket motorbike. But they found that robot gender was difficult to explain.
Too much exposition, apparently.
Right. And it's like the robot is like pink, and it's like for children to just look at a cartoon and understand. I thought that was so funny that the adults making the film couldn't get it, or they were like, the American public won't.
And they were going to make the female robot a crotch rocket.
Well, she is.
It's a motorcycle form, but they said that her form was too small compared to the other robots.
So with the Transformers, I know in the first act they say that they're DNA-based computers, but then in the third act they say they're non-biological. So are they living or not living?
Okay, I'm gonna get a little bit more into the lore later because they talk more about it, but essentially what I'm going to come back to is the continuity of Transformers is just not consistent, and it's okay. So for some reason, I don't know why not within the whole movie, but they have like 6 different startovers from the animated series, from the comics, from different movies, from more recent comics and recent animated shows and anime, and then the live action movies. Essentially, it's known in the comics and everything else that they are biological creatures and that they have their metal is like a living organism essentially, or it's like living cells. And instead of DNA, it's CNA, and it's like cybernetic is what it stands for.
Wow. You guys got a lot more from this movie than I did.
Not from this movie. I did a lot more research.
All right. So moving on, we progress in this wonderful tale where Maggie shows up at Anthony Anderson's house because he's the only person in the world who could help her decode these cryptic noises. Sam runs from his possessed car and meets Michaela, and they are confronted by the bad guy cop car Transformer. It turns out that Sam's car is the good guy and protects the humans. Michaela saves Sam's life from the boombox Transformer. Sam goes from existentially smooth with a line like, 50 years from now, don't you want to look back on this and say that you had the guts to get in the car? To Michael Bay Creep Boy with the line, maybe you should sit on my lap, in the course of about 2 minutes. Bumblebee uses the radio to convey that he has friends in space. They crash land and destroy many things in the process. Turns out that Sam's glasses have a map to the cube, and they need to find it before the Decepticons do. Hilarity ensues while Sam looks for the glasses, and the Autobots wreck the yard and try to get Sam in trouble with his parents. John Turturro shows up and arrests everyone, and then Sector 7 captures Bumblebee, Sam, and Michaela.
Yeah, you mentioned the line that got her in the car, but then the sit on my lap line. And this second act is really where Michael Bay takes it from just ogling Megan Fox to actually like verbally harassing her. Like there's a line where John Turturro shows up as the Sector 7, and he's like, yeah, criminals are hot, to this like 16-year-old girl. And he's just everyone's objectifying her.
He actually calls her a training bra.
Oh my God. I missed that, and I am disgusted.
He calls her a training bra, then looking her up and down says criminals are hot.
Wow.
Yeah.
Comedy.
They really did a good job. They did a really good job of making John Turturro's character likable. Because like I was like watching this and I was like, this is one of the good guys? Like I don't remember how that happens at all. Like he was fighting them the entire way.
I don't really want to wrap my head around the rest of this franchise.
Either. Question though, for all of you. I'm assuming you all watched the live action movie around the time when it came out. Yes?
I believe so, yeah.
When did it come out?
2007, you idiot.
Oh, I thought for some reason the alcohol is getting to me. I thought you were talking about the animated movie that you posted earlier.
No.
When she specifically said live action.
I literally said live action, didn't I?
No, you definitely did. That's what I'm saying. Yep, you're right. I did.
Okay.
I saw it.
So we all saw it when it came out, and I didn't think it was honestly as bad as the time that I just saw it last week. Agree? Disagree?
It doesn't age well.
No, it doesn't. But looking back on, now I'm actually going to talk about the animated lore in the comics. Did any of you, besides obviously Wesley had some Beast Wars figurines and loved the movie or show?
Represent.
Any other like animated stuff for Transformers? Did any of you watch any of that?
I didn't watch it, but in preparation for this episode, I watched the pilot episode of Transformers, the animated series.
From 84?
Exactly.
Yeah, I have no connection to the animated at all. Like, I know it exists, and I know Orson Welles was Optimus Prime, but that's the extent of my knowledge.
He was not Optimus Prime, but
He
good
was not
try.
Optimus Prime.
It was Peter Cullen?
Sellers.
Okay, so I'm only going to talk about the movie from 1986 because my husband Corbin has the 30th edition Blu-ray, and so I watched it last Sunday in preparation to watch the live action the next day. And I'm just going to say, by far, this movie got right to the robots fighting each other, and it was awesome. Like within 15 seconds, there were really cool animated shots of fighting. But the difference, really significant difference that I saw was that they kind of changed some of the lore. So, for example, in the movie in 1986, they killed Prowl, Ironside, and Ratchet immediately, like right away in the movie. Spoilers, sorry. But in the live action, those are the ones that show up right away with Optimus Prime. And so I just found that to be really interesting. But also they changed from having the matrix of leadership, which is Optimus Prime's like thing he puts inside his chest that has the spark, into the Allspark, because writers for the live action thought that having the matrix of leadership would be too confusing because everyone in the audience would think it's the Matrix from 1999, which I thought was hilarious. So they changed it to be the Allspark.
That's funny.
But also, Cybertron, the planet, isn't dead in this movie, in the 1986 movie. They are just going to Earth to get Energon to sustain it and to have more nutrients, and Earth is the one that has that. So I noticed that was a big difference too. But also, Optimus Prime dies right away in 1986 movie, like immediately. And the reason they killed all these characters in the beginning is because Hasbro, the company, was discontinuing their toys.
Oh my God. I was going to comment on what you said in reference to the movie. I think it's interesting because a lot of the first drafts of this 2007 live action, a lot of the selected Transformers were changed because Michael Bay was upset that the drafts of his script were leaked. So, that's kind of interesting because it doesn't seem like there's a big rhyme or reason beyond, having his big, Optimus Prime, Megatron, and Bumblebee. Beyond that, they're just like, who cares?
I wonder if there's a draft of this movie that exists that introduces the Transformers earlier than an hour and 15 minutes in.
Seriously.
They may as well have called them exposition bots, because that's all Optimus Prime did for the first 10 minutes he's on screen, is just tell backstory about what's happening.
I think that's actually true, Ben, because Steven Spielberg was a producer for this, and he suggested very early on that a boy in his car should be the focus of the film.
And Michael Bay should not deal with humans. Let's just be honest. He really shouldn't. He doesn't like them. In my opinion, I don't think he likes them.
Have you seen Bad Boys?
Yeah,
have you seen The Rock?
Deal with them.
The Rock is amazing. He should only do men's. He should not touch any female characters, though. Michael Bay does not know what to do.
He should not touch any female characters. But at 91 minutes left, this is beginning of Act 2, I literally wrote down, I just want robots to battle already. Transformers is not about anything other than the battle against Decepticons and Autobots. And even 60 minutes left, I said, why aren't they fighting the Decepticons yet? I just want big robot fights.
Right.
I think a 5-movie franchise would argue with that point.
The Decepticons could have ended this movie much earlier if they just figured out how to use eBay and bought the glasses with the buy now.
I was thinking that too. No bids on the glasses by the Autobots or Decepticons. They go directly to the buyer or the seller, and they're just like, "Hey, you motherfucker, we're taking this shit."
Did eBay even have profile pictures?
No,
because the profile picture that they chose for Ladies Man 217 looked like Shia LaBeouf had just gotten off a crack bender.
Why do the Autobots, when they arrive on Earth, just crash wherever the fuck they want? Like, the one crashes straight into the baseball stadium.
Yeah, that's because Michael Bay had a bunch of money to spend. He had a bunch of money to spend.
I really hate how they make the Autobots kind of stupid, because they even say Optimus Prime's like, oh yeah, we have access to the internet, and so we know all about you. But they shouldn't be stupid. In all of the lore prior to this, they should actually know a lot more than the humans. They are an advanced, thousands of years old race. You know, it just drove me nuts that they were seen as dumb, bumbling robots. When
they crash to Earth, they do like this. It's a Michael Bay trope that he does, but where he has characters that we've never been introduced to doing comedy parts.
Right.
And there's this guy who's like filming the Autobots' arrival, and he's looking at his camera and he shouts, "This is easily 100 times cooler than Armageddon." And all I thought is, no, it's fucking not. That movie rules.
Or the little girl that's like, "Are you the Tooth Fairy?"
Yeah.
I was definitely thinking about the Michael Bay trope, and I was wondering if it was going to come back again, because we're like an hour and a half into the movie. Like, this is a regular length movie for like 2020, but like we have another hour 10 to go, and I was just like, is this going to happen again? And then it did.
Yeah. So Ben, you had mentioned an incorrect guess at the voiceover actor for Optimus Prime.
Good try.
Peter
The person
Cushing?
No, I actually didn't write down I think Emily, you said it. What was the voice?
Orson Welles was a Unicron, but
no, who was the actual voice of Optimus Prime?
Oh, I didn't write that down, but
I thought it was Peter Cullen.
Sure, we'll go with that. Way to go, Peter Cullen.
But he is the original Optimus Prime.
But yeah, he is actually the original Optimus Prime. Looking up his IMDb, this guy has 185 credits.
Oh yeah, no, his voice definitely brought fans to this movie.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, obviously Michael Bay was going to get a ton from this summer blockbuster anyway when it came to the box office, but as soon as he brought in other voice actors from the show, you know, that was it.
But he cut out Megatron and he cast Hugo Weaving. What the fuck?
Because he said his voice was too squeaky, which I thought was stupid.
Hell.
Of the 185 credits that this guy has, most of them are the cartoons and video games from Transformers, but he was also Monterey Jack from the 90s cartoon Rescue Rangers.
No!
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He also had voices in pretty recurring roles other than one-offs in Rainbow Bright, My Little Pony.
I love Rainbow Bright.
And he was the voice of Mogwai and Gremlins in the movie Gremlins. He also was one of the voices in the 1983 D&D TV show. He originally was in the Smother Brothers Comedy Hour in 1967. Like, dude's been working for a long time. You already called out that Hugo Weaving was Megatron. The other one that I wanted to point out is the voice actor who played Jazz, who in the original series was voiced by Scatman Crothers. But for this take of it, they got Darius McCrary. Ringing any bells with anybody?
Is that Hootie?
Eddie Winslow from Family Matters.
Oh,
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I just thought that was pretty funny because his one line was incredibly uncomfortable.
Yeah, I was gonna say in the original Transformers, I looked up the cast, the voice actors, and it was wild because there was a lot of white men voicing all these robots, and then Jazz was voiced by Scatman Crothers, who only voiced Jazz. All of the other parts had 5 to 7 different roles, and I was just like, this fucking racist ass cartoon.
I mean, Michael Bay just took that and ran with it too.
Right. He was paying homage to it.
So Hugo Weaving, I know we brought up him as being Megatron. He fucking hates this movie.
Oh my gosh, that doesn't surprise me.
He actually came out afterwards and said he didn't read the script before accepting. It was purely a paycheck move for him. He made $200,000 for 1 hour and 45 minutes of voiceover work.
Good for him.
Yeah,
Right?
Good for him.
Wow.
Good for Hugo. I mean, just being part of all these like amazing grossing movies, he's just everything he touches is gold.
So let's get into the part with that really has Hugo Weaving featured, and that's Act 3. So the humans are taken to the Hoover Dam, which was built to hold aliens, where Sector 7 reveals that they are housing the Allspark and frozen Megatron. Cell phone bot sneaks out of Megan Fox's bag and defreezes Megatron, while also calling all of the Decepticons. Bumblebee shrinks the Allspark down to basketball size. Megatron escapes the dam and cell phone bot dies. They all head to Mission City, wherever the fuck that is, where the robots fight. The next 20 or so minutes is a mismatch of metal on metal action as Michael Bay jerks off in the corner to all of the explosions.
I don't think he went to the corner.
Sam is appointed to the military and is told to go get the Allspark and take it to safety. He's caught by Megatron before Optimus Prime arrives to protect Sam. Sam jams the Allspark into Megatron's chest, destroying the spark and killing Megatron. Optimus Prime loots a shard of the spark from Megatron's corpse before the military pollutes the ocean with dead robot bodies. Shia and Megan Fox start up a relationship, and Optimus Prime sends out a call to the universe that Earth is a good place for Autobots, so come on down. In the mid-credits scene, fighter jet bot flies to outer space, ensuring even shittier sequels are made of this godforsaken movie.
There actually wasn't going to be any sequels. Like, that was not planned. But
I find that very hard to believe.
no, it was planned as just a one-off, which is very funny. But when you said that the end credits where Megan Fox and Shia Labeouf's characters end up together, when they're making out at the end, Corbin made a comment, "What's it like making out on top of your friend?" And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
oh, shit.
I wanted to know that because like anytime I try to have intimate time with my fiance, I kennel my dog. I'm not doing it in front of them.
You don't
That's
just
gross.
lay on top of your friends.
No, ew. And Mission City, where the fuck is that? I thought it was Las Vegas, but obviously not.
I thought it was Los Angeles because they're at
It
the
is.
Hoover Dam. And then they're driving on the highway in that long extended scene where they're moving the spark, and then there's all the crashing on the freeway. I thought they were going to LA, and that's what the city looks like where they filmed.
Yeah, no, it is.
But then
It's-
they called
it's
it Mission
LA?
City.
That's
Yeah.
fucking 6 hours away from the Hoover Dam.
They drive.
Okay.
The sun sets. That's how you know that time has passed.
All right. Okay.
I do get really annoyed because Transformers are robots in disguise, and
Not these ones.
not these ones, except for the Decepticons. The Decepticons are definitely, hiding themselves out. But the spot where the Autobots show up on the Griffith Observatory in California, and they're all just like hanging out there. I looked up on Google Earth to see what that usually looks like. It is packed with people all the time. Well, probably not now, but I was just like, why are they always just showing up? They show them off as really stupid Transformers. Drives me nuts.
Yeah, why are they cars?
It seemed like the Decepticons were much smarter choosing like armored
Yeah.
military vehicles like F-22s and
I feel like that could have been
tanks.
a good use of Michael Bay's trope of falling from the sky. Like they could have at least landed like in a car dealership or military compound where there's tanks or something. But
Yeah.
Emily, do you have any insight on that?
There's a lot of stuff about this, but essentially it came down to commercialism and trying to sell cool cars. But they also wanted to make them the good guys, right? The Autobots are the good guys, and they wanted to make them stand out because if we think about the animation and how they transform, it's usually really close up, and it's also very fast. And so if you see the color of the Autobots, you're like, oh, that's a good guy. I know who that is. And honestly, I think that's as far as Michael Bay thought of it.
And it seems like they also chose kind of more of the all-American semi-truck and your
I hate
Corvette.
that they
Your
put the flames on
GMC.
it.
Mhm.
Yeah, this definitely has all of the makings of a Michael Bay movie. And last week, when we were talking about Paul Thomas Anderson, We talked a little bit about auteur and what that means, and it's just a director who has complete control over what's happening, and there's little things in all of their movies that continue to show up. And I was just writing down some Michael Bay-isms as I was watching this movie.
I can't wait.
Can I share my favorite real quick?
Yes, please.
6 minutes in, we get our first lens flare.
Yes, lens flare.
The lens flare.
It was far more absent in this movie than others, but I couldn't help but also notice it on the end credits. He lens flared his own name.
Yeah, no, he lens flares all the text from the opening text on Transformers to the end. It was like you could see how this would kind of become, or it was part of like that. I feel like it was a period of the 2000s, like where J.J. Abrams kind of took it and made it his own thing.
So it's funny you bring up J.J. Abrams because you can tell from this movie that Michael Bay and J.J. Abrams really like each other's work. I know J.J. Abrams did some script work on Armageddon, and the two writers for this movie have worked with J.J. Abrams before on Alias. So like they're all like a core of 4 friends who work together. So I found that really interesting. But other Michael Bay-isms would be wide shots of airplanes, shuttles, choppers, carriers, ships.
You mean like fetishizing the military?
Yes. Well, the military is a separate Bay-ism.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Excessive explosions. That revolving camera shot where the camera moves around the person as they spin the opposite direction. Yep.
Definitely.
Shots into the sun.
Sorry, I was going to say when Matt said 360 hero, I was like, oh, is that the proper term from film school?
I mean, like I'm ready to jump in and add a few Michael Bay-isms because like I know what his work is and what it looks like, and I don't know, I appreciate it, but at the same time it can be overdone, as you can see. But I'm excited to hear the rest of the list, Ben.
Yeah, so the other ones are like a lot of warm tones and yellows in his color composition, and then as we mentioned earlier, one-liners from randos in the middle of action.
Right.
Matt, you got more?
And there's also, I don't know if you guys have seen Bad Boys. He has that revolving camera shot where it goes where you have 2 people or you have 2 sides fighting, shooting each other, and he takes your point of view and he drives around the action, which is like a very specific Michael Bay shot that he developed from Bad Boys. And he definitely, I feel like he shoehorned that in there towards the end of Act 3, where it was you have Angelina Jolie's father versus cell phone bot, as you so eloquently called him, Ben. Yeah, so like they definitely shoehorned that shot in there, but like just the use of mixed color with like a kicker that's like with its like warm, you have your warm tones like orange, red, and then you have your blue side or your blue fill. So he likes to mix light a lot.
So I have a question because I decided to do some research on Michael Bay because I haven't seen like any of his movies except for a couple, like the first 2 Transformers, and I just have no interest in them. But
well, you've got a pretty good idea of what the rest of them look like.
Right, I know, but I was watching the Every Frame of Painting video on YouTube. Lindsay Ellis has a really good series on Michael Bay, and so does Patrick H. Willems. And so a lot of them kind of came together and talked about how Michael Bay actually is a genius and is really capable and smart, but he's really more focused right now, or at least has been, on trying to just make a shit ton of money because that's what he knows from commercials, so that he can actually do passion projects. Do you think that this is a realistic thing?
Genius is a strong word, I feel.
Yeah, calling the guy who's uncredited in his own movie as the person who gets flicked by Megatron.
Oh, really? That was him?
There were a lot of uncredited actors in this movie.
Well, I agree with Matt that genius may be a little strong. You can clearly tell that he's a competent filmmaker who just likes to give in to almost his worst instincts in movies. Like he just wants to satisfy himself and do what he would enjoy seeing. And I actually think that he has a pretty good pulse on what American audiences want to see too, because his movies do make a lot of money.
He has a huge budget in all of his films, and if his true goal was to get to somewhere where he can make his passion project, I think 13 years after this piece of garbage, when is he going to make his passion project, and what does that look like? I mean, I don't know if any of you have an idea or if the world even does, but what do you think a Michael Bay passion project looks like when he loves himself so much to put this kind of movie together?
I want to jump in and say, like, I really enjoyed The Rock and I liked The Island. So I love the visuals of Michael Bay films. I think they're great. I think that where he could use a lot of work is in the editing of his films, as well as the story and structure of their characters. But he knows how to make a visual. And I think that Michael Bay films always look great, but they just leave you with too much. There's just too much. It overuses a lot of tropes and it overuses a lot of the same shots, but visually it's always pretty stunning. I don't know if you guys would agree with that or not.
But maybe he is just feeding to a stupid audience. Like, he understands and just assumes that Americans, because let's be honest, he's driving home the nationalism, patriotism kind of viewpoint. And he is just assuming that audiences are dumb. And I don't know. I kind of agree. That audiences are kind of stupid.
I think that he likes it. I think that he likes his own aesthetic. He seems like a type of person that enjoys exercising his own control over his pictures. And I don't know that it's from the point of view of just giving them what they want versus what he wants. But I mean, I don't know if that's just my interpretation.
Well, as dumb Americans, I would love to hear what we all thought about this movie. Can we hear some reviews?
Ooh.
Yeah, I'll go first. So the first half of this movie has way too few Transformers, and the second half has way too many. Somehow the half with too few is the better half of movie. Shia does a fine job with what he's given, but eventually the movie just washes over you, and you're left paralyzed by the indecipherable nonsense happening before your eyes. 7 robot golden showers out of 8.
Wow.
Okay, I would like to go next. Michael Bay produces films that are extended commercials. They press the pleasure button in your brain with the explosions and pretty animation. This movie shows that he knows how to set up great cinematic shots, but it is no different from unnecessarily lengthening out an ad for Hasbro, cars, and the military. It shifts the focus away from the named characters, the Transformers, forcing us to identify with the generic human protagonist, rather than doing what the 1980s opening once promised to us in less than 15 seconds. Autobots wage their battle to destroy the evil forces of the Decepticons. I give this movie a rendition of the song from the 1986 movie. Are you all ready for me to sing?
Oh,
You don't got the touch, bam, bam, bam. You don't got the power. There's my review.
Okay.
I'm not sure where does that fall on the scale.
Yeah, that's a hard one to judge.
It didn't touch me. It didn't have any power.
Okay. All right, I'll go next. If you love wacky zip-zop sound effects, this movie is for you. If not, it's a pretty fun and passable popcorn action flick. The action washes over you, leaving you satisfied with its destruction and humorous moments throughout. Where Michael Bay's Transformer really falls short, though, is the lack of character development of any of the robots. With any popcorn flick, you will be sick of it after eating popcorn for 2 hours and 40 minutes. I give this movie 2.5 out of 5 360-degree Michael Bay hero shots because this movie is at least 1 hour longer than it needs to be.
All right. My review is a little different, as it's going to be hilarious.
Because mine wasn't.
The movie that gave rise to the most iconic music of our generation. Be sure to watch the inspiration behind Skrillex making robot sex noises. There is also some pretty crazy Shia LaBeouf, guns, loud booms, big shiny robot machines that kick metallic booty. But don't worry, girls. You will love sweaty Josh Duhamel and the fact that the women are portrayed as the smartest and most capable of all the human characters. I give this movie 3 cups of Bumblebee's piss out of a full gallon.
How many cups are in a gallon, Wesley?
16. Thank you for asking. I had to Google it myself.
He was prepped. He knew that.
Not very good at all.
And now it's time to play Battle of the Twitsformers. I will pose 5 rounds of questions to our savvy Department of Defense analysts. Let them try to convince me who is most worthy of the Allspark this week. The winner of each round will get 1 point. Second place gets 0 points. I will be more easily persuaded by more creative and entertaining answers. After the true Autobot stands atop the pile of shiny metal, they will condemn the Decepticon to watch and live tweet a movie of the winner's choice. So, Twitsformers, are you ready to roll out?
Ready.
Yes.
Acceptance. Perfect. So the loser of this first question will immediately have to take a shot. So, boys, what's in your glasses?
I've got a marg.
Gonna take a shot of marg?
I'm going to take a big gulp of marg.
Okay.
And I got another shot glass of Transformer pee.
Oh, you didn't seem to take that first one too well.
I got another one ready. It's been sitting for an hour.
Oh, perfect. That's what the
Room
best
temp.
That's going to rust.
Goldschlager does better at room temp.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we grew up with endless choices of toys growing up, and maybe Transformers wasn't on your radar. So for question 1, I want you to pick an iconic toy to build a Michael Bay movie around, and I also want you to describe what that movie would look like, feel like, and sound like. We're going to start with Matt this week.
Rock'em Sock'em Robots. Michael Bay has experience making large robots come to life, and that's exactly what this movie would be. The connection between brain damage and getting punched in the head was something that our lawmakers could no longer ignore. The year is 2030, and all contact and violent sports have been banned by the libs. This is the future they want. As a reaction to losing most sports, boxing and MMA, the public starts to crave new and inventive competitions. In the beginning of the movie, we see the public demand and fanfare of BattleBots start to explode as the sport develops. It slowly evolves into this gigantic sport of monster-level robots in the style of Rock'em Sock'em Robots. The sport is quickly dominated by those who can spend the most money and recruit the best talent, and our antagonist starts to emerge. Elon Musk. What a schmuck this guy is. He buys all of his competition, patents all of their technology, and worse, he starts to intimidate and disappear his competition with henchmen, played by Ken Wadabe. Our protagonists are these unassuming, poor inner-city youths that are used to get into trouble, and now they're on the straight and narrow path because of the guidance from their high school teacher, played by John Turturro. Michael Bay frequently works with previous actors he's used. This ragtag team of robotics geniuses can't be bought. They're extremely gifted, ahead of their time, and fate is on their side. Elon Musk, there was financial obstacles in their way, and then they are aided by John Goodman, another Michael Bay boy, who provides some of the finances, so their geniuses can be realized. Elon Musk is exposed, goes to PC jail, a new jail that has been quickly developed by society, which is now worse than real prison. Michael Bay's use of the 360 hero shot, his experience making large robots come to life at scale, as well as the bad boys rotating around the action shot would all be used and aid the robotics fight scenes. This movie would really come to life at the direction of Michael Bay and his $300 million budget. Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
Hey, I just want to clarify because for some reason, am blanking. Are those the little robots that punch each other, the red and blue one?
Yeah, they're in the boxing ring.
Yeah, you get the bing, bang, bang, bang. Yeah.
Thank you for the sound effect.
Well, they'll be added in the movie.
Prevalent, I would guess. All right, Ben.
Michael Bay is about nonstop action and leaving a wake of destruction in his path. So the toy that he bases his movie around has to have that same reputation. Obviously, I'm talking about the Slinky. The movie would be very similar to the movie Crank. And would be Michael Bay's attempt at paying homage to Run Lola Run. Our main character, Slinky, who is a sentient being from another planet, lands on Earth in an attempt to save his stranded female Slinky friend. However, Slinky's landing was spotted by a government helicopter, and now he's on the run, attempting to not get caught by the US military so that he won't be cut open to see what's inside him, which is every alien's worst nightmare. The movie would be pure adrenaline-filled action as Slinky constantly tries to keep his momentum up and get to his friend before it's too late. This movie would be filled with tons of huge action set pieces, like Slinky leaping from a helicopter, Slinky outrunning the cops down a stretch of highway as cars explode around him, and don't forget Slinky's water skiing chase scene. Through Michael Bay's use of quick cuts and incomprehensible action filmmaking, this movie will keep you on the edge of your seat and also maybe even cause you to feel something. through frequent Michael Bay collaborator Steve Jablonsky's haunting score. The title of my movie is Slink, Slinky, Slink.
What the fuck?
Oh, I don't know why that seems more realistic than
Right?
a Rock'em Sock'em Robot. Oh god, I gotta score this right now. Quick questions, Matt. Ben, I got nothing for you. That's amazing.
Bullshit.
Matt, I had 2 questions. I haven't really seen it, but this sounds like the plot of Real Steel.
I don't know what Real Steel is.
It's Hugh Jackman, basically the movie you just described.
Fuck me.
Also, so check that out. Matt, you really love Elon Musk, and did I understand that right? That he would be playing himself in this movie?
Yeah. He's playing his own bad guy. He's a bad guy.
Oh my gosh.
Fuck that guy.
Wow.
I want to know how Slinky's maintain its momentum on a jet ski.
It's a water ski.
Whatever. Doesn't make sense.
Oh, but I believe Michael Bay could do it, so we're giving this one to Ben.
This is horseshit.
Matt, take a big gulp of that margarita, and I want to watch that Adam's apple. There we go. Perfect. Ben, I would also like you to take your shot of Transformers.
Yeah, I can do that.
That's bullshit.
I'm going to need some recovery time, though, before I give my next answer.
I'm pissed.
I've got some more to describe here. Great answers, guys.
American Girl was my backup toy.
Yeah, you probably should have gone with American Girl doll.
Yeah, I don't know.
That would've
This
been
week,
great.
it struck me with the obscure that really got me with the Slinky. So,
Yeah.
all right. Question 2. This is going to be a debate style question where you will have a chance to argue against your opponent's answer as well as defend your answer from their attack. This movie made lots of monies and comes in at number 35 of all time on the list of highest grossing domestic box office films that are non-sequels. So I would love to hear you two debate over what the worst non-sequel movie that made more money than Transformers is. And Ben, we're going to start with you.
Forrest Gump sucks. Forrest Gump is schmaltzy, Oscar Beatty crap, so melodramatic, nostalgia-ridden, and saccharine that it hurts my teeth. The narrative framing device of him telling his life story while sitting on a bus bench makes 0 sense, since 1, nobody asked, and 2, the people on the bench keep changing. Does he keep starting the story over when a new person comes to the bench? Otherwise, that old lady at the end has no context for who Jenny even is. Throughout the entire movie, Forrest takes credit for the achievements of black people, like inspiring Elvis's moves or ending segregation. And not just that, but he forces the unsuspecting black woman on the bus bench to listen to him talk about how he's named after a Klan member. The movie plays more as a series of humorous non sequiturs and fails to tell a compelling story or illustrate any major themes other than stupid people can love too. This is just scratching the surface of issues with this movie. I haven't even mentioned the terrible characterization of a person with a mental disability, or the fact that Forrest has no character arc and doesn't grow throughout the film, or that one of the plot points is that he runs across America multiple times. Also, Forrest Gump is the biggest piece of conservative propaganda in the history of film. This movie spends its entire runtime glorifying the simple blue-collar war vet through the Forrest character and demonizing the liberal lifestyle through the Jenny character. Become a liberal and you will get AIDS and die. Life is like a box of chocolates. No, it's fucking not. Boxes of chocolate tell you on the outside what kind of chocolate to expect inside. Actually, this movie is like a box of chocolates, since only 10% of what's inside is any good.
Matt, that I know that one hits you close to home.
Matt, I'm going to give you a few extra seconds because Ben got a few extra seconds. So
Fair.
you give him hell.
Fair is fair. So, my turn?
Yep.
Yeah.
Leslie?
You're up.
All right. E.T. sucks.
Fuck you.
E.T. is a penis-shaped extraterrestrial for no reason. His face is like a genital, and his neck elongates, and there's no reason. You don't think kids wouldn't notice that penis thing? Give me a break. When I was a kid, yeah, that's all we talked about. Okay, so it's just definitely disgusting. Secondly, the power of healing sucks. E.T.'s superpower of healing and making flowers grow, lame. You know, like extraterrestrials should be able to do anything they want. Healing is totally great and all, but like combining it with the power to blow shit up or something else, like maybe might make a little bit more. Third, E.T. spawned one of the worst video games of all time. There's a rumor. The rumor has it that it sold so badly that all of the cartridges were made into a landfill. And then lastly, Neil Diamond wrote a song about E.T. called Heartlight that sucks dick. No good band would ever make a song about a movie. And E.T. sucks. Now, to defend Forrest Gump, the major growth is all about his son. So, you know, if it is about this guy and his relationship with his son, the movie actually does make sense. And I want to go ahead and say furthermore, a special human versus a special alien. The special human is going to be so much more relatable than your special alien, Ben. And this is one of the best adaptations of a book to a movie. The book is all over the place. He goes into outer space with a monkey, and they just knew that wouldn't be feasible in a movie. So they made him just special enough. So in closing, Forrest Gump is good, and life is like a box of chocolates. And the good boxes of chocolates don't tell you what they got.
I would like to point out to our listening audience that Matt put air quotes around special. All right, Ben, let's hear it.
E.T. isn't supposed to be relatable. That's what the Elliot character is for. So the fact that you brought up E.T. being more relatable than Forrest just doesn't even make sense. Also, you're talking about Forrest Gump's son being the main part and plot and arc of Forrest Gump. He's not even introduced until the last 10 minutes. He's an afterthought to the movie. The movie's all about Forrest's journey, but really it doesn't matter because his journey holds no narrative weight. It's just there.
That was it?
You provided no argument for why E.T. is a bad movie.
Yeah, right.
I have nothing to defend.
All right. It's my turn, right? Yeah. Okay. So let's just go ahead and just hit it again. E.T. is way too phallic for children. And if you like penises on screen, you love E.T. So, and then going back, let's just go ahead and address that his son is a major point because his relationship with Jenny, it's like a love story. Jenny is centrally involved in his son with Jenny represents his redemption. So
what is he redeemed from? What is he redeemed from?
I'm sorry, Ben. You don't get to say anything. This is Matt's closing. Woo!
I would like to ask a follow-up.
To who? Wait.
Both of you.
Oh, sure.
I feel like this is a little bit personal. Is it personal? Is this debate like a fight?
You know, honestly, we could have chosen other movies like
Suicide Squad or Secret Life of Pets or Avatar.
But we got together and we decided we were going to try to get after each other and pick our favorite movies.
You know what this feels like? This feels like when Matt got Christmas presents for Ben and I when we lived together in college. And he made sure that we opened them together. And he gave me a Beyonce CD and Ben a Nickelback CD, who were both of our absolute, we will walk out of the room if those are playing. And Matt told us it was his plan that we would have dueling radios in our rooms to try and drive each other crazy.
So, that's funny.
Perfect. I loved it. Loved the answers.
God, I was an asshole.
Was.
All right, on to question 3. So this is a big Hollywood blockbuster film. And blockbusters, unless you are the movie retail chain, generally have some pretty diehard fans behind them, even including Michael Bay. I want you to write a fanboy letter to Michael Bay. Matt, we're going to start with you.
Dear Michael Bay, fuck the haters, bro. I absolutely love your shit. When you use that cool and warm light together and shit, that spinning hero shots and shit, your boom boom and explosions and shit, they get me hard for movies, bro. My girl doesn't like your movies at all, and honestly, I had to kick her ass to the curb because she doesn't get me, bro. Not like you. I hope one day I can find my Megan Fox. But that's not what this letter is about, bro. I just wanted to thank you for everything you've done for movies, bro. I don't know what the fuck all these film bros and directors were doing before 1995, but you reinvented the wheel, bro. Bro, Bad Boys? That shit was sick when you did that spinning and shooting shit so fucking awesome, and you only needed 19 million, bro, which was wild. And The Rock, bro, that's my favorite movie of all time. I'll take pleasure in gutting you, boy. That shit was awesome. Anyway, I love your shit, and I'm glad they started letting you run wild with that $200 million in budgets and shit. You can really see that shit on screen, and I just wanted to say, keep doing your thing. That shit is tight, and like I said earlier, fuck the haters. Your biggest fan, Maddie Ice Anderson.
Ow. Wow.
Bro.
Oh my God. We both hammered home the bro theme.
Oh, perfect.
Jeez. Okay. Dear Michael Bay, bro, I fucking love your movies. I cannot get enough. As far as I'm concerned, you're the only director churning out masterpiece after masterpiece, except for The Island, because for the first half of that movie, that straight up sucked, bro. Where were all the explosions? Was that part even in America? I don't know. What you have been able to do with Transformers franchise is nothing short of a miracle, bro. I wasn't allowed to play with dolls when I was growing up, and my dad said Transformers was a little too doll adjacent, but you turned Transformers into the opposite of dolls. Not dolls. I still don't let my kid play with them, but I can appreciate the movies now without feeling like I'm letting my dad down. Rest in peace, Dad. Without your movies, I would have no idea what products to buy. Hell, when I can't watch your movies, I just go outside and stare directly at the sun, and it makes me feel like I'm looking at a scene from literally any one of your movies. But for serious, bro, they've really impacted me and caused me to think about who I am and what kind of man I want to be. And the man I want to be lets his gaze linger on women a couple seconds too long just to make sure they know their objects, just like you do. You're my hero, bro. XOXOO, which of course we both know means fight explosion, explosion, fight explosion. God bless America. Signed, Matt Anderson. P.S. I think if you change your name, that people would respect you more as a filmmaker like I do. My suggestion is M. Explosion Baymalan. Think about it, bro.
Michael Bay is going to get 2 letters from me. Let's go.
That was my first note, is you both wrote from the same character, and it turns out it's true. Except one has the levity to call himself Matty Ice. I appreciated.
Matt, do you like Michael Bay?
Like I said, I think he needs an editor, but man, he knows how to make a visual story.
Okay.
One of my favorite movies is The Rock.
Oh, I couldn't tell in your fan letter.
Yeah. How much of those, and this is for both of you, how much of that was from your heart?
About 75%.
Mine was the exact opposite of what I feel, so, Matt.
But yeah, so you were writing from Matt's heart.
Yeah.
Got it.
Oh.
You're trying to. I think he might have captured a little bit of it.
Oh, okay. Anyway, question 4 will also be a debate. This week, Emily wrote this one, so I'm going to pass it off to her to let her pose the question.
All right. As I was thinking about creating this question, I was thinking about how in anime, there's a continuous debate of the trope best girl. It is a completely subjective argument on which girl in an anime is the favorite for whatever stupid reasons. As one Redditor put it, it's when I get a boner in my heart. So I wanted to translate this into movies.
True.
Because Michaela, aka Megan Fox, is hot in this movie, unless you're Wesley. You're just, she's attractive. And so I created a question around the best hot girl in a movie. So who is the hottest girl in a movie? Ben.
Famed 21st century poet Ludacris once said, "I want a lady in the street, but a freak in the bed." I agree completely with him, and for that reason, the hottest girl in any movie is Elisha Cuthbert in The Girl Next Door. No other movie depicts a woman who is as sweet, intelligent, funny, and cute, truly a girl who you could take straight home to meet mom, but also one who owns her sexual agency, has learned on-the-job skills that translate to the bedroom from her days as a porn star, and can have educated and frank discussions about sex and love. There are scenes in this movie that have ingrained themselves into my brain because of how sexy and beautiful Elisha is. particularly the scene where she takes the main character to the motel. Not only is that scene sexy, but it reveals her vulnerability and sensitivity, so much so that I just want to take care of her, hold her, and love her. I didn't hesitate for even a second on who my answer for this question was. It is and will forever be Elijah Cuthbert.
Matt?
Man, Cuthbert sucks. Kim Bauer sucks. Always getting into terrible situations. The hottest girl in a movie is Jordana Brewster in The Fast and the Furious. Because she knows how to drive, she knows cars, she knows how to make an excellent tuna sandwich. And guess what? All of the characters in the movie are clawing at each other's throats to be with her. Paul Walker is another hot man worthy of being with her. Emil Hirsch, not hot, and he's the one that gets Elijah Cuthbert. Elijah Cuthbert's first role was for Popular Mechanics for Kids. That's not hot. Jordana Brewster's first role was All My Children, a titillating show. It's a daytime soap opera. Okay, Elijah Cuthbert, Canadian, sucks, gross. Jordana Brewster is American-Brazilian, and she's also the daughter of a swimsuit model who was on the cover of 1978 Sports Illustrated. And guess what? Jordana Brewster graduated from Yale University with a BA in English, 2003. Elijah Cuthbert, she's just a surface level, graduated from high school, Canadian. No college experience. Jordana Brewster, so much hotter than Elijah Cuthbert. AKA Kim Bauer.
This is a very, very silly debate. I love it.
We're learning things. All right, Ben.
You shot yourself in the foot by choosing Jordana Brewster in the first Fast and the Furious movie, because that's not even the hottest Fast and the Furious movie she's in. Like, she is far better looking and hotter in her older age than she was when she was 21, where she just looked awkward. Also, you talked about her making a tuna fish sandwich. We never saw anyone eat that tuna fish sandwich. It could have been shit. Elijah Cuthbert, I was talking about her character from this movie, not the real life person, which you decided to attack very viciously as uneducated and holding her like accountable for being Canadian, which I find very approachable as a Minnesotan myself.
Yeah, Matt, you used to be from Minnesota, don't you remember? We're supposed to be friends with our closest potential enemy. Yeah, you're safe in Atlanta.
Elijah Cuthbert's character in The Girl Next Door is just a young blonde who a lot of her sexuality stems from in the picture, being in her young 20s. Stupid, right? Jordana is hotter. She gets hotter men. Got a college degree. Yale brain, you know? She's got the American Brazilian genetics, and that's subjective, bro, Ben. She's super hot in the first Fast and Furious. Boom.
All right. We're going to call that one a wrapped up debate, as we call it in the medical community, and move on to everyone's absolute favorite question. So
it's at least mine.
Well, that's everyone.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to pitch a reboot, prequel, or sequel for Transformers. And this week, I would like you to paint a word picture of a scene from your movie. I'm going to start off with Matt.
Mine is going to be a spin-off sequel. Michaela's father, Nikolai, now out of jail and on the straight and narrow from his time joint for Grand Theft Auto. Michaela connects with her father, and everything seems to be going well as they become a family again. But some of Nikolai's former crew return into his life and disrupt everything. They tell him best childhood friend is now in trouble with the Russian mob because he didn't deliver on a deal, and they need his help for one last job. So this is obviously going to be an awesome car movie that flexes its knowledge about engines, power, and all things that car fanatics love. Michaela will reluctantly join her father, Nikolai, again as they try to save his friend from the evil men out to kill him. Nikolai will have to battle the forces of police trying to catch him, as well as the Russian mafia that doesn't want him to succeed. And because Nikolai is such an expert at this type of work, I was thinking of a very specific scene where he would be training his crew and practicing on how to steal the cars. And they would have a stopwatch as they did a trial run for all the theft of the cars. Now, for the stakes, I was thinking they would need to steal about 50 exotic cars. And because the crew is coming to Nikolai, I don't know if I said his last name yet, Nikolai Cage, so late, they've only got a couple of nights to steal all the cars. My sequel would be called Absent in About a Minute.
I feel like I'm missing something.
It's a Gone in 60 Seconds joke.
Was this a Transformers spin-off sequel without any Transformers in it?
Oh yeah, this is Michaela's backstory.
This is the spin-off of the first half of this movie.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I was
But
wondering
the
if it
good
was going to
part.
be similar to the first movie where it was all exposition and then the last 10 minutes it was Transformers.
Nope, this is just
no
own thing.
Transformers.
And I wanted to do Beast Wars, but I was like, nah, that'd be too fucking easy. Well, I want to hear more about these auxiliary characters and Michaela.
Yeah, because it also would have been the second answer this week that you have posed that's already a movie.
That's right.
All right, Ben, let's hear it.
Unlike Matt's movie, my movie has Transformers in it.
Not necessarily the best.
Nope, not required, but for mine it is. I had so many questions from watching Transformers. Are there female Transformers? Do Transformers enter into loving and committed relationships with one another? Do Transformers have children? Well, my sequel presupposes the answer to all of these questions is yes. Transformers are not all action all the time. There are quieter moments in their lives, moments of self-reflection and relational stress that are akin to even the ones that we humans go through. For that reason, I want to do a shot-for-shot, line-for-line remake of Marriage Story, using all Transformers. With the exception of Ray Liotta, he still gets to be Ray Liotta. By making the movie be about Transformers, it helps the movie not feel so white people problems and allows it to be more accessible for all audience members. I know what you're thinking. There has to be a twist, right? And you're correct. There is. The end of the movie uses the Lego Movie twist to show the young boy from Marriage Story has been processing through his parents' divorce through the use of his Transformers action figures. The scene that I want to paint a word of is where the big fight happens, and we start to get glimpses that the reality we've known throughout the movie is actually being manipulated by this young boy, as he's recounting to a child psychologist the fight that he overheard his parents having. This transforms the movie into also being about the impact that divorce has on children, which is largely glossed over in Marriage Story. The title is Transform Marriage Story.
Wow.
I completely stole my idea, and I feel like I'm somehow less of a ripoff.
I did write down that both of you just somehow co-opted an existing story.
For Ben, he had two coexisting stories.
So
It's hard
Wesley,
to come up with a sequel for a movie that has 4 or 5 sequels.
Well, there were two other options called prequel or reboot.
Eh.
you've got Transform Marriage Story and Absent in About a Minute.
I'm going on just the names. I gotta give it to Matt, but we'll circle back on that. All right, so question 1, just to recap, reboot or creating a toy movie for your favorite toy by Michael Bay.
Iconic toy.
Matt said Rock'em Sock'em Robots. Ben said the Slinky, and the creativity outwon that one. So Ben starting off with a 1-point lead. Question 2, the debate of what other non-sequel movie that has a higher gross than this one is worse. Ben, a couple points. The saccharine that it hurts my teeth. Race heavy and no one asked. Loved it. Matt, the phallic thing was pretty hilarious, and the power of healing sucks. I think this one again kind of fell apart a little bit for you, Matt, in the attacking Ben's defense. So this one's going to Ben for 1 point. Question 3. Write a fanboy letter to Michael Bay.
I just gotta say this probably was my favorite question. Yeah. I thought that 4 would be really funny, and it was, but this was probably my favorite.
The fact that you guys both came at it like logically so from a viewpoint that was so similar, and the fact that you both signed it as Matt, but that Matt had the gall to sign his own name on that was hilarious to me. Ben, I love the doll adjacent and continued homophobia and the hammering in of the sexual predator. And Matt, I just love the hammering of the bro and lots of expletives, and especially signing at Matty Ice. Ben, I think where you lost me a little bit was that this was pandering to all the points of what Michael Bay does, where Matt seemed like an actual fan letter.
Like an authentic fan letter.
It felt more grounded. So we're giving that one to Matt. And question 4, who is the hottest girl in a movie? Yeah, this one was interesting. Both some really good points. Matt unfortunately attacks the actress instead of the character in the movie. Made some fantastic points, but we're still going to go with Ben for this one. And on to question 5, the prequel, reboot, sequel. You both straight up stole movies. So I kind of agree with what Matt had said, where somehow it seemed like you both stole movies, but somehow Matt stole less. It doesn't help that I haven't seen Marriage Story, but I think that Matt's got me more in the chuckle box, especially with the title. So we are giving this one to Matt for 1 point, which brings us around to a final score of Matt 2 and Ben 3. So you remain the champion, Ben. What movie are you going to force Matt to live tweet?
I think this week Matt has to live tweet the movie he tried to steal for answer number 1, which was Real Steel.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I didn't know I stole that movie. What? I haven't seen Real Steel. I haven't heard of it. I knew I steal Gone in 60 Seconds. Bullshit.
Now you get to see what you tried to steal.
Yeah. I think that's a fantastic. I'm so happy that you backed your ass into a movie that already existed and didn't know about it. That made me very happy to get to tell you that the pitch you gave was already in existence.
Real Steel. Who's in it?
Hugh Jackman.
Anyone else, or just him
just
by
Hugh
himself?
Robots.
Okay. So is it Hugh Jackman? Is there one man play?
No, there's other people in it.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I actually will probably start watching some of the Transformers animated series more recently, the recent stuff, and maybe the comics, because all this research made me see that Michael Bay sucks with the Transformers movies, and some of the other stuff is actually really cool.
Well, Emily, I think
that's what
you
I'm
should
do.
feel free to live tweet about watching the Transformers cartoons on your Twitter account, which is
Emily_IDYP.
Yep. And if you want to catch me live tweeting Real Steel, the movie that I made, Matt_IDYP.
Yep, and I am reachable at Ben_IDYP.
Yeah, and I put out all the best stuff at Wes @Wes_IDYP.
Hey, thank you everyone for listening. Next week, join us for one of Matt's favorite movies from 2007, Walk Hard.
Ugh.
The Dewey Cox Story. What do you mean? Oh.
Woo! Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thanks for listening.
See you later, everybody. Be sure to rate us 5 stars.
Yeah, tell your friends.